Okay, so you've seen the letters GPT absolutely everywhere. But what does that T actually mean? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the transformer. It's the engine, the real powerhouse behind this whole AI boom. Let's get into it and see what actually makes this thing tick.
Here's the plan. We'll start with the basics, what a transformer even is. Then we'll look at the super simple game it plays to write text. From there, we'll follow the data as it flows through the machine, see how it turns concepts into pure math, and then, finally, we'll try to wrap our heads around the incredible scale that makes this all work.
All right, first things first. We all know the acronym, GPT, Generative Pre-trained Transformer. And yeah, every one of those words is important, but that last one, transformer, that's the real game changer. That's the core invention we really need to understand. So what is it? At its heart, a transformer is just a specific blueprint for a neural network. It's an architecture that turned out to be wildly, unbelievably powerful. The generative and pre-trained parts tell you what it does and how it learned to do it. But the transformer is what it is. It is the fundamental piece of tech driving this whole revolution. And this architecture is, well, it's everywhere now. The original transformer back in 2017 was actually built for language translation. But today, it's doing so much more. You've got DALL-E and Midjourney making those insane images, you've got tools that write computer code for you, and even the models creating realistic synthetic voices, yep, they're all built on transformers. Now, here's the part that's kinda wild. You'd think a model like ChatGPT is doing something incredibly complex, right? But its core task is surprisingly simple. It's basically just playing a game of what comes next. It's just a loop, over and over again. The model looks at a sentence and it predicts the most likely next word. It then picks one, sticks it on the end of the sentence, and then, and this is the key part, it feeds that new, longer sentence right back into itself to predict the next word, one word at a time. I mean, when you hear it like that, it just doesn't sound like it should be powerful enough to write an entire essay, does it? And you know what? For a smaller model, it often isn't. Something like GPT-2, an earlier version, might start a story that just falls apart into gibberish pretty quickly. But, and here's where it gets crazy, when you use that exact same process on a massive model like GPT-3, something magical happens. The story suddenly works. It's coherent, it's creative, it just makes sense. This shows you that scale isn't just part of the secret sauce, it might be the main ingredient. Okay, so let's pop the hood. We're going to follow a piece of text on its journey to see how the machine actually processes it. So it all starts with tokenization. Your text gets chopped up into little pieces, called tokens. Then, the real magic begins, embedding. Each of those little tokens is turned into a long list of numbers, a vector. You can think of it like a coordinate in a giant map of meaning. These vectors then go through processing layers where they all talk to each other to figure out the context of the sentence. This process repeats multiple times, with each word's vector getting smarter and smarter about its relationship to all the other words around it. Now, here's the part that just blows my mind every time I think about it. To be good at this what's next game, the model has to build an understanding of concepts, and it does it with geometry. This is the classic example. If you take the vector for king, subtract the vector for man, and then add the vector for woman, the new vector you get is almost identical to the vector for queen. It's literally doing math with meaning. And this isn't some one-off fluke. It works for all kinds of crazy concepts. The model somehow learned the relationship between Italy, Germany, and Hitler points to Mussolini. It basically figured out the concept of a WWI axis leader. Or how about this one? Germany minus Japan plus sushi equals bratwurst. It's incredible. It even learns that words like cat live in the same neighborhood of meaning as beast and monster. It's building a map of our world, but with numbers. Okay, so the model has processed all the words, it's updated all the vectors with all this rich context, but how does it actually go from a big list of numbers to picking the next actual word? This is where a nifty little function called softmax comes in. After all that work, the model's final output is just a raw score for every single word in its vocabulary, basically how good it feels about each word coming next. Softmax is the essential step that cleans it all up. It takes those raw scores, called logits, and turns them into a perfect probability distribution. Now you have a clean list where every word has a probability and it all adds up to 100%. The model has its marching orders. And get this, we can actually control how it chooses. There's a setting called temperature that acts like a creativity knob. If you turn the temperature down low, the model gets really predictable. It'll almost always pick the word with the highest probability. But if you crank the temperature up, you spread the probabilities out. You give the weirder words a fighting chance. And that can lead to some really creative and sometimes chaotic results.
So what gives a machine the power to learn the relationship between kings and queens, or sushi and bratwurst? The answer, really, is scale. And that brings us to the absolutely astronomical size of a model like GPT-3's brain.
175 billion. That's how many tunable parameters, or weights, are inside GPT-3. And these aren't just random numbers. Think of them as tiny little knobs and dials inside the machine, all of which were carefully tuned over weeks of training on a huge chunk of the internet. This right here is the learned intelligence of the model.
And that massive number isn't just one big blob, it's highly structured. For instance, just the parts that turn words into numbers at the beginning and turn numbers back into words at the end, those two components alone account for over 1.2 billion parameters. And that's less than 1% of the whole shebang. This quote from 3Blue1Brown just nails it. It is so important to get this distinction. The sentence you type into ChatGPT, that's just temporary data passing through. The 175 billion parameters, the weights, those are the actual brains of the operation. That's the part that learned, and that's the part that contains all the intelligence.
And that really just leaves us with a final massive question. We've seen that the jump from a smaller model to GPT-3's 175 billion parameters was a huge leap in what it could do. So it makes you wonder, if this is what 175 billion parameters can do, what new abilities, what new magic are we going to unlock when we finally build models with 1 trillion parameters, or even more?